Chauncey DeVaga is on the line with us. Chauncey, political essayist, commentator, and contributor at Salon. ChaunceyDeVaga.com is his website. You can tweet him at Chauncey DeVaga, DeVega, or at Salon. Chauncey, welcome back to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us. So you wrote this piece, Donald Trump is a delusional crybaby and the GOP's long con, rich white people are the new victims. And you attended a Trump rally. Tell us about that.
Well, Donald Trump really is a professional white victimologist. If you listen to any of his speeches that are written at a 4th or 5th grade level, he lists himself as a victim, conservatives as victims, Christians as victims, police as victims, the United States military, the most lethal fighting and killing force on the planet, as a victim. And I also had a chance to go to Donald Trump's no-show rally on Friday, which was just, again, a spectacle and a human political rodeo where Donald Trump's supporters actually ran amok attacking people. And I have a new piece over at Salon, and you and I talked about this last time, and we saw this over the weekend, about black Donald Trump supporters being his new attack dogs, where they're basically sort of his black-brown shirts, instigating all sorts of violence against Black Lives Matter protesters and others.
Wow. So you were at his the no-show thing. That was the Friday one in Chicago, You mean, a week ago Friday?
Yeah, the one a week ago.
Yeah. There's an interesting piece over on Alternet right now. I'd just like to bounce some of this stuff off you. Stephen Rosenfeld writing, 6 key issues where Trump neutralizes Hillary or runs to her left. And the first one is the anti-free trader. And, he's talking about Carrier Air Conditioning, Ford, Eaton Corp. I noticed over the weekend, Bill Clinton mentioned Carrier in a clip that played on one of the networks. I think it was on the Trump network. And I'm curious your thoughts on... well, actually, let me just go through the list. I'd love to get your riff on all of these. Number 2, cutting America's military budget. Trump repeatedly calls for cutting military spending by closing our bases overseas. Matthew Gault wrote for Reuters, that should scare everyone. As Trump has pointed out many times, Washington can build and maintain an amazing military arsenal for a fraction of what it's paying now. He said Donald Trump could be the only presidential candidate talking sense about America's military budget. That should scare everyone. That's right. Number 3, rejecting big money political corruption. Trump will go after Clinton as a corrupt insider cashing in our connections. Number 4, preserving Social Security and Medicare. The number 5. I mean, Clinton is even talking about means testing Social Security. Number 5, lowering seniors' prescription drug costs. He says we should, negotiate bulk to buy drugs from the pharmaceutical companies. He's breaking with the Republican Party on all these things, by the way. Breaking up health insurance monopolies. Your thoughts on all this?
Well, I think, number 1, it's really dangerous to have Donald Trump and sincere in the same sentence, because Donald Trump is willing to say anything to get elected. So I think we have to be especially critical of anything that he mouth bloviates.
How is that different from Ted Cruz, for example, or John Kasich? I mean, John Kasich's record is so vile in Ohio, and it's never mentioned. It's never called out.
Well, I think we have a few things going on here. So, again, Donald Trump is just, again, sort of pivoting off a standard right-wing producerism where he's trying to appeal to sort of this populist narrative about either the military or taxes. And the irony, again, being he's one of the 1% plutocrats who are actually inflicting the harm on the people who are then running to him for protection. But I am actually deeply concerned about his ability to sort of play off this sort of pseudo-populism to pivot against Hillary Clinton, who's a consummate political insider. And I've said this repeatedly. You and I have talked about it. I've said it at my website, online, in interviews. I actually think his well of support is much bigger among the general public. And I actually think, I know what the polls suggest, that either Hillary or Bernie would be a superior candidate in terms of winning relative to Donald Trump. But I actually think Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump is a much weaker matchup because he'll be able to precisely make those appeals, and that will work with his right-wing producerism, and he'll probably be able to peel off quite a few independents who are just disaffected and disgusted with the system.
Well, that's apparently what we're seeing already, and this phenomena in Pennsylvania of over 50,000 registered Democrats re-registering as Republicans, apparently so they can vote for Trump in the primary. This is pretty scary stuff. On the other hand, the press is beginning to start calling him out, although I think everybody's afraid to end up in Megyn Kelly's situation. What are your thoughts on his relationship to the press?
Well, he's a masterful manipulator. Again, he's a carnival barker. He knows the angle. He is a perfect candidate for TV. We had the whole, the classic debate between JFK and Nixon, right? So JFK was the TV-ready president. Nixon won for radio. Donald Trump is the perfect reality TV show era president, or potential president, because he knows how to work the emotions. He knows that it's the sizzle, not the steak. He knows how to make big claims. And I actually have a piece I'm working on, and I think sort of the inside the beltway mainstream media types are totally missing the appeal of Donald Trump, is that he's fun. He's entertaining.
Yeah.
And they're up there talking about issues, and they're missing why many low information and other voters are attracted to him. He's really, really fascinating. And the other candidates, with the exception of Bernie, are really quite uninteresting.
Yeah. Yeah, and even Bernie can be very wonky, when he gets into policy talk. Although he does it in a way that gets people on their feet. Where do you you've been following this very closely. We're talking with Chauncey DeVaga, by the way, the political essayist, commentator, contributor over at Salon, ChaunceyDeVaga.com, or tweet him at Chauncey DeVaga, DeVega. What's your sense, Chauncey, of where this is going, and what do you make of all the conversation? Some of it sort of on the down low, and some of it just right out front, about the RNC trying to neuter Trump, as it were.
Well, they have the big money folks lining up trying to stop Trump, but the monster is already out. Right, the horse is out of the barn. You can't put him back in. And I think their nightmare scenario is that brokered convention. And Donald Trump said he was kidding, but he wasn't, when he said there'd be riots and chaos if he didn't get the nomination. So I think going forward, Hillary's going to be the nominee, and she has to avoid the mistake of attacking Donald Trump on the issues. I think that could be the biggest mistake they make. Donald Trump is a personality-driven candidate. You need to attack everything he says about his greatness, his life success, his vitality, and his bravado, because his voters, number one, he's going to be his base. They're going to vote for him anyway. They don't care about the issues, but I'm worried, seriously worried, that there's a well of disaffected, alienated voters who aren't showing up in the polling data who will be drawn to Donald Trump, because the more you attack him on the issues, the stronger he gets.
I agree with you, and I've read this piece about, I think it was on The Hill, about Hillary Clinton's strategy to take on Trump, and it was basically to portray him as a misogynist and all these other things. But, Marco Rubio tried that, and it took him down. Jeb Bush tried that. It took him down. These are talented and skilled politicians.
Oh, they're professionals. And the other nightmare scenario I have is I can't imagine Hillary versus Trump in a debate. Remember when Obama went up against Mitt Romney the first time, and Mitt Romney quite literally throttled him because it was like this postmodern performance art where Mitt Romney was just consistently lying and Obama didn't know what to do?
Right.
Again, I have that worry that they'll have a debate, and Donald Trump will, again, play with his sort of personality politics. He'll demean Hillary Clinton. I think we're going to see an ugly political campaign that will probably rival anything from the 19th century, going back against Abraham Lincoln, the things that Donald Trump is going to say about Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton.
Right.
And then she's going to try to engage him with the issues, and he's going to pivot, he's going to smile, and he's going to play to the TV audience.
Yeah.
The people there are going to boo him, but the people at home are going to smile.
Yeah, I'm very concerned, too. Chauncey DeVaga, political essayist and commentator, contributor at Salon, ChaunceyDeVaga.com. Thanks, Chauncey.
Thank you.
Always great talking with you. To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here. And please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.